usually likes to go for just the Lilias, the Eves, that right now has been banned out. So the option for Hijume is most probably the Lilia, the Farsa.
Lilia makes sense, a bit more survivability, a lot of AoE damage in the big fights, and just as we say that, it does get locked in. And now for Argentina, what could it be, man? They need some DPS for sure, and this is the problem. When you're in the current meta, anything can be played in the jungle almost. It can be a utility tank, it can be marksman-ish, it can be assassin-orientated, and considering that they're against Fanny, I think a fighter makes sense, but then they'll be very, very locked in into a front-to-back situation. And Indonesia, the flanks we saw from side cuts have been very, very dangerous. So they go for the Karina, can be used as a tank as well, and they have that Melissa to deter all these dive potential.
There you go. That's the answer we were waiting for, right? Up against a team like Indonesia with the Fanny, with someone that can just dive into that back line, you need someone to be able to cover. And looking at Team Argentina's composition before they picked the Melissa, wait a minute. Brands is hovering over the Roger currently. Grr, yeah, absolutely. But we'll see. Arashi.
No way.
Is this going to be, are they trying to pull off the double retribution strat?
I'll have to say that so many teams have been doing this to the casters. Can you please stop? This is not okay, man. You're giving us a lot of false hope here. And I don't think it's gonna be that Roger. Unfortunately, they are hovering on the Lapu Lapu. Yet another dive hero, a good engage, and crowd control. More than anything, crowd control has been so critical in ensuring that your team gets that slight edge, especially when both teams are positioning, are maneuvering so well in that mid to late game.
Zace, he just loves it, man. He loves playing with the casters there, with hover over the Roger. Come on, Zace. Don't give us hope. Pick it up, man. Come on, man. Maybe next time we'll see it.
Do it.
Maybe they're saving it for later. But here, up against Argentina with Karina, picked up by Jotun and Civ. I do want to finish.
For example, in the XP lane, going up against Papdog as well, that is something that you do not want happening.
Welcome to the land of Dawn, ladies and gentlemen. Team Indonesia here with Taz starting on the purple buff and Jotun on that Karina on the orange buff. Let's see here, Taz. One question I do have currently is what emblem is he going to go for? He opts to go for the high and dry. And now you can already see that it's going to be the mystery shop as well from Karina, as Erwin is going to get bursted down by the damage from the Fanny early on. And man,
that is a lot of damage. That is what the high and dry is going to bring to the table. Taz is going to be very aggressively moving around, going for those 1v1s. And unless Argentina has solid control in the lanes, then they can actually, you know, that's how they need to play to get the opportunities to shut down, to collapse onto Taz, who is going over aggressive.
Here though, Jotun is going to have a bit of a rougher time in his jungle as Taz was able to pick up that kill. It is going to be a 1-kill lead early on so far, but that's something that can really get the snowball going for Team Indonesia right now as Dreams just gets out that perfect match. Jotun still is able to get level 4 a bit faster than Taz though, even after suffering that invade early on.
Have to watch that there's no real counter to the engage coming in from Erwin with the Flicker Fatal Links combo. No Purifies, for example, but we'll have to see. Does Indonesia have a strategy in mind, a counter? Maybe through maneuvering to positioning. We have to see later in the mid-game. But for now, the Atlas cannot be as aggressive when it comes to these skirmishes. So we'll have to wait until about level 4. And now with the first turtle spawning, you can see action building up near that top side.
Both teams are playing it a bit passive here early on, but wait a minute, a solo kill in the gold lane by Brands, the Indonesian king of marksmen there, as he is able to actually win out up against the damage. Taz, out of nowhere with Dreams, finds the Divine Judgment. Now Taz just going mad with the cables, and that's going to be Hijume who picks up a double kill. Papa Dog caught in his own jungle. Psychots just does some damage, puts him back, and forces him to recall. 2 minutes in, and it's Indonesia who has a pretty solid lead.
Just like that, 2 kills on the table. That is how fast, that is the X factor we talk about whenever Indonesia is being mentioned. Out of nowhere, these plays will just keep happening, so Argentina need to be on their toes. the composition of Indonesia is all about that pickoff, so they cannot leave their member alone. I think we saw Meteoro use the Cult Altar, but it was just a bit too late, unfortunately, and that cannot happen again, because that is one of the core ways they have to counter Indonesia right now.
3 minutes in, that's a turtle secured for free by Indonesia. Psychots in that XP lane as well, getting a pretty substantial lead with Brands doing the same. So far, all 3 lanes are controlled by Indonesia. And this is a good read as well. Brands knows something is up, knows that Erwin has been missing on the map for quite a long time, so he plays it safe. Meanwhile, Indonesia, Dreams, and Hijime, they don't decide to rotate. They decide to just keep that pressure in the mid lane to, again, relieve some of that pressure from the other lanes.
I'm just waiting for the time where Taz will start exploding out of nowhere, because right now it's a ticking time bomb, man. He is farming up, but once he feels that he has the necessary items, he's about to go absolutely wild. And as you say that,
oh my goodness, Taz does so much damage. Hijime pops that black shoes to run away from Erwin's possible engage here. As Psychots tries to make his way into that mid lane, just again opening up the map for the rest of his teammates. And that damage is absolutely absurd, man. Meteoro just disappeared. They're trying to do it onto Erwin right now with the Divine Judgment, but Erwin pops that perfect match. Very well timed to get out of the Divine Judgment.
Taz on the Fanny right now, an absolute menace. And I don't think anyone from Argentina can deal with him 1v1. They need to find a way, a team fight, force him into these situations where the high-end dry won't really have a lot of impact. He won't be able to actually get those solo kills, but it's easier said than done. As we say that,
oh man, he used the Shadow Stampede. The Cult Altar HP is gone just like that, but Meteoro has the flicker. You can see the kill pressure already from Taz on the Fanny. That's why it's a signature pick, and that's why usually we see it banned out.
The Cult Altar, man, we talked about how it's only very situationally good against teams with limited amounts of damage, maybe big burst damage, so that the second life can be preserved for, you know, for your team to actually have more impact. But when the Cult Altar HP gets taken out like that, it's too dangerous.
Erwin with a perfect match again has to use it defensively. A very different Atlas gameplay for Erwin here today, as Meteoro is going to be chunked low, goes in for Shadow Stampede, Dreams gets targeted down, but it's only the Roamer. A shutdown as Jotun puts Argentina on the board, but it's Taz who picks up a trade up top. Taz now going on to Papa Dog with a cutthroat as well. The flicker ready to save Papa Dog, but it's still a solid trade, 1-for-1 right now.
It's unfortunate Hijime was the one who actually fell in the engagement. He is the one with 3 kills right there, so it's not ideal. I think he chased a bit too much, but of course we see again the damage potential coming in from Indonesia. A lot of poke damage, and if you get too low, Taz does not waste any time at all securing that kill, taking you out of the Land of Dawn.
Now it just goes to the discipline game, right? They already have a pretty good lead, 3,000 gold that's going to be building again. Taz looking for that play, jumps in just to bait out that Cult Altar, and now it's gone. Meteoro has nowhere to go.
Bro.
A brilliant decision by Taz as well. He didn't get turret aggro, so he just played around the minions, forced Meteoro to pop that Cult Altar. It's pretty impressive.
Very impressive. And it's just too fast. If you wait for the right moment, you might get taken out before using it, but the Fatal Link is being used, Mirko.
Only to Dreams right now, who is the Roamer, who can soak in a whole lot of damage, and now it comes down to Taz, who's able to rotate down below. Jotun finds a pick, Brands gets taken down. That's going to be a 2v1 situation. A 2-for-1 trade as well, but it is going to be equalized in that mid lane. Psychots, flickers forward, gets the double kill, and makes it a 3-for-2.
That axe accuracy coming in from Psychots. A 3-for-2, not ideal, but I guess at this point, Argentina need to get themselves on the board right here. If they play a bit too safe, they're just waiting for the members of Indonesia to set up for the next play. And as we can see, it can come just like that. Divine Judgments, bravest fighters, and of course, Taz just slice and dicing all the way through in the back line.
The damage, look at that. He went for 2 items early on. It's going to be the Heptaseas and also the Melphic Roar. So he knows that Argentina are going to start to pile up on that physical defense. Going for just physical penetration as early as 7 minutes in the game will basically mean he'll deal true damage.
Not to mention he is up against essentially 3 heroes that can go tank, so it's a very smart adjustment decision in the item builds. And now with that lead, Indonesia is just pressuring away the members of Argentina from this turtle. They're still able to secure the purple buff, But right now, full control for Indonesia, unless Argentina does something unexpected. Erwin, with that flicker, we've seen him make the plays happen, but can he replicate the same success?
2 ultimates burnt out by Taz.
What?
Go away. Cult Alter, 2 very crucial ultimates when it comes down to the team fights. And just like that, the engage potential that Argentina had, the pick potential with Erwin, it disappears because of the counter engage that Indonesia can constantly threaten with. Dreams jumps in, finds the Divine Judgment onto Meteoro, knowing he does not have that Cult Alter. And Brands picks him up like it's nothing. Dreams now opening up the map, going to be targeted down. Dreams going to be taken down by Argentina. A 1-for-1, but it is the mid laner taken down for the roamer.
Look at the mid lane though, the wave management coming in from the Indonesians. We've talked about this since the drafting phase, and Argentina is absolutely feeling it. Even when they get a kill, it doesn't look like they're getting any control, and look at the aggression.
Papadog dove under the tier 1. Taz styling, and Hijume picks up the kill. Papadog 0-1 currently. Again, he tried his best early on. He went even in lane against Psychots, but because Taz has had such a good time around the map, just getting kills and getting the snowball rolling, he can start to melt these tanks down. Psychots up top waiting in the bush, jumps in with the Bravest Fighter, forces the go away before the fight even starts. Erwin is forced to use the perfect match now as Psychots gets caught, but he baits enough of the resources out. One frontliner for another. Erwin for Psychots as Indonesia looks for the re-engage. And Taz is a monster. Jumps in like it's nothing, jumps out like it's nothing.
How is he able to maneuver like in curves on a Fanny? Usually we see linear movements with the cables, but this man, he is drifting right now.
It does feel like he's drifting, you know, he's playing those cables in a way where it looks like he is actually going around the walls. But this is his signature thing. This is the reason we usually never see it get left open.
And this man was a mid laner, so now in the jungle position, this man is just flexing all this mechanical skills, the killer instinct as well. And when he is that accurate with the cables, how can you like play as a backliner for Argentina, but Papadog is the one being targeted?
Melted down instantly here by Psychots and Brands. Erwin tried his best to pop that conceal and the perfect match to reach towards his teammate, but Papadog just gets bursted down too fast because, again, of the items. Even Brands with the Hunter Strike in the Melfic Roar, with the POD completed so early on. Man, he can actually just burst that whole team. Yeah, right as I say it, on cue, Brands pops that Renner, gets Meteoro to a quarter of his HP, swaps to the Bennett and clears out the wave easily with the BOD completed. Now, I need to ask you a question, Arashi. Argentina, how do they come back in the game, if it's even still possible?
They need to get a shot down somehow, some way, man. I mean, they have some tools to get a catch, but they need to make the proactive movement. They can't wait for Indonesia to go in like this.
Well, the Cult Ultra's there.
Oh, no!
Gets baited in by Taz with the cables. Meteoro falls as well as that Psychots who finds the double. Brands completing the Haas clause will mean that he will no longer need to recall. He can just hit a few minions, go for a few creeps in the jungle, and get back to full HP. Jotun trying his best to look for a play. Toss and Brands with that combo. The snipe from the purple buff and Taz with the cables as Psychots jumps in once again onto the Bravest Fighter. But it is going to be the go-away pop as well by Argentina. Meteoro backing off. Call Ultra already used. 11 minutes in and 2 base turrets have fallen.
See the discipline coming in from the Indonesians, having so much momentum and yet so patient. Snipe does not connect from Brands, but like I said, now with the Cold Altar, when do you pop it? Is it when Taz comes flying in? Is it when Brands is charging up the Snipe because he can one-shot you as well? It's such a tough situation, especially when all the responsibility is on you to keep your teams alive. Meteoro with a Cult Altar, and we can see that Erwin, he is definitely feeling the pressure. He needs to make a play, but if he tries too hard, if he forces it, this is what will happen. Indonesia can absolutely take over.
12 minutes in. This is, so far today, we have seen longer games than yesterday, right? I think the longest game we saw yesterday was 11 minutes, and today we saw a game go all the way. Dreams, though, looking for the pick, finds it like it's nothing, but it's going to be the Cult Ultra, which is placed down. Taz looking for the plays, waiting for the call Ultra HP to be shrink down, to be melted down as he goes in for a re-engage. Getting the base turret, getting back as well, baiting a whole lot of resources for Brands to free hit on that back line. 2 members falling for Argentina. Meteoro and Civ, the 2 damage dealers, are still up, but the snipes connects onto Civ, and that will mean Civ will have to recall. Taz finally rejoining his team, jumps in onto Johnson, goes in for the cut though, finds Meteoro, and he's looking for a double kill, looking for a triple kill onto Civ now. He does get it in the end, a triple kill for Taz up against Argentina in a dominant game 1.
Dominant for sure. This is why the Fanny has been so prioritized. It is disgusting. What is that damage, my guy? It comes in, it's just so much damage so fast. Because if there's some time for Argentina to try and react to it, to try and counter it.
If he does that, he will have no more resources to actually defend himself. Obviously, your match MVP will go to the hands of this man right here, Taz. The mid laner, the jungler. At one point, he actually was the goal laner as well for EVOs.
You're right.
This man has been playing all the roles, and you can see that the experience has helped him to actually look for these ganks, to look for these openings around the map.
He just knows how to read the situation. He knows when is the most optimal time to go in and go out, because there's so many times where it seems like he predicts the counterplay coming, and he mind games them instead. And then once you're in that situation, now you're
shadow picking the Natan, which is a very interesting move. Natan is a hero we haven't seen in a long time in the gold lane, especially up against a Wanwan that can really bully you, up against a Lolita that can soak in everything you've got, even with that entropy. Well, it becomes a pick that is risky.
It's a bit of a mixed bag with Natan. A lot of mixed damage, right, with how he operates. And oh, he goes for the shadow picks. We keep saying that this is not okay.
Haha.
It's moving around though. But let's go, Argentina. Make up your mind. We have to like comment on this.
No, keep on juking Arashi, just like Messi.
Let's just wait.
But here we go. I'm honestly just wishing for a Bruno here, but he does go for the Clint. If it's not the Irithel, another hero that does extremely well in lane up against the Wanwan, it's that Clint, right? With the superior range and obviously the CC as well. Technically, the root that he has in his arsenal, it's just so good to go up against the Wanwan early on. But as we all know, Clint is very easy to pick off, and Indonesia are trying to punish that, hovering over that Selena to put some more kill pressure down. Remember, in 1v1, Clint wins, but it's never 1v1 in the gold lane anymore.
Exactly. And now with a Lolita, it's a very oppressive hero in the early game because you're actually tanky, but you have a deceptive amount of damage. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a lot, but it is a lot. And yikes, it's going to be the Yutsong and the Lilia. So is this a jungle Benedetta?
It is a jungle, unless they pull off a jungle Yudzong. We saw it once before, not by Taz.
Phoveus is the attempt to counter from Argentina. But as we've mentioned before, I think, Phoveus isn't a hard counter for a 1-1. It can be a problem, especially if Phoveus is doing well. But otherwise, a 1-1 can absolutely outplay around that demonic force.
Both heroes that Argentina are trying to counter with the Phoveus, 1-1 and Benedetta, have counterplay to the Phoveus, right? The Benedetta can just time the enter the Land of Dawn. We might see an interesting battle spell come out from Phoveus. I was expecting a Vengeance. Because usually, you need to go for that Vengeance if you are up against a 1-1 on the Phoveus in a losing lane like this. But it is not the Benedetta that he's up against, right? It is the Yudzong.
Exactly. Well, Yudzong is also a very oppressive hero in the laning phase. So we'll have to see that. Can Papadoc actually get an advantage? And if he does have an advantage, right, it's still up to the rest of the team to enable, to try and catch out the players before the Phoveus in the hands of Papadoc can actually make those crazy plays. So far, though, it is a slow laning phase, and it will all depend on, I think, the jungler. So far, we've seen that both these teams like taking it easy all the way to minute number 4, but in this game, it's a bit more scrapping going on.
Let's see, right now, Indonesia early on, already Wanwan actually winning out in the lane up against Clint right now, and Brad is actually able to get out. Wait! in the XP lane, it's a solo, it's a gank.
It's a gank
there,
from
2v1,
Taz.
Erwin taken very low. That's the Inspire popped in. Brands looking for that kill onto Erwin. Will not be able to find it, but it's a lot of damage, and that pressure has been alleviated off the other members. Dreams gets caught. That's going to be the shadow kill to pick up another 1-for-1. This time, Argentina with their comfort picks are doing better.
Argentina strikes back in the early game. Again, you can't take this team lightly. They are a serious contender in the tournament right now. Indonesia, they need to be a bit more careful because if they let Yutun start snowballing, that can't be good for them as well. These squishier laners are going to be quite vulnerable, but I guess Brands will be the one that will be feeling the bulk of that aggression.
Indonesia, though, already first onto the neutral objective now. Picks it up. No contest from Argentina, as Jotun doesn't have that purple buff. Without the purple buff, Hayabusa is going to find it very difficult to contest or even to gank. So for Argentina, it does feel like their win condition is solely on getting the picks early on. They can't really go for the neutral objective control. Dreams there with a cheeky invade, looking for that steal. But Taz on this Demon Slayer Benedetta. I wonder if he's going to go damage or tank.
I think damage must be the way to go. He has that Demon Slayer emblem, so it's a interesting hero. Able to be built quite a few different ways, hybrid, tank, full damage. But right now, we keep talking about the lane management in game number 1 and game number 2 here. I think it's no different. Indonesia has so many wave clear tools to actually work around with. Psychots, Taz, as well as Hijime can all do that, but look at that aggression coming in, and they're not done yet.
Jotun able to maneuver himself out of that position, but now he's going to get caught in the stun. Doesn't have the shadow kill to play with here. The guy as well, but a Luminal Blast forces Erwin to pop that circling eagle, leaving Jotun behind for Indonesia to take. Erwin trying to dish out damage back, but again, it's Indonesia that it really feels like Indonesia has Argentina's number in the rotation game.
You can see how they can just have such a good read on Argentina, because Dreams, he charged the Numenon Blast preemptively towards the top side, so they are a few steps ahead in these very messy skirmish engagements. And I think Taz is waiting. He's trying to try and steal that purple buff. Does he have backup though? That's the main question.
He's all alone here. He's still looking for that retribution battle, but decides to back off, using Eye for a 9 to get out of the circling eagle. Meanwhile, in the XP lane, Hijime and Psychots finds a kill. That's the second kill over to Papa Dog, who's not having a blast on this Phobius in that XP lane, Arashi. We mentioned it, up against the Yuzong. It's going to be really difficult to lane, especially with the ganks that's constantly just being placed by Indonesia.
Not only are they having a Phobius fall behind, they're having Psychots on the Yuzong, just absolutely wrecking it in that EXP lane. That can't be good as the Indonesians are pushing the aggression, and look at that.
Real world manipulation popped in. Jotun looking for an opening as Hijime jumps back to the black shoes, but it's going to be caught by Jotun, who was very patiently waiting. They're going to blast onto Civ and on towards Erwin as that's a crossbow attack opened up. Erwin taken low, still able to survive, but with Civ down, this means that not only is Indonesia winning in the XP lane, this Wanwan on the hands of Brands as well is ahead, which is not a good sign.
Absolute disaster as far as the laning phase is concerned. And look at the babysit coming in, but on the other side of the map, that is Psychots just making a very aggressive play. It almost pays out in a kill. Unfortunately, not just yet. They're just pushing the tempo again and again. And Argentina, which lane are they supposed to make plays in? Because at every moment, they're getting out-rotated, and Indonesia is just in the bush, just waiting for them to walk in unsuspectingly.
It's absolutely insane right now. 5-2. Bataz jumps in all alone there. Looking for the purple buff, finds it and gets out. No punishment. It's actually going to be Indonesia who looked for the collapse under the tier 2. Real world inflation popped in, but Psychos jumps to the Furious Dive. Now, in the midst of it all, Erwin going to be taken low, but Dreams is still alive with the help of Taz, who jumps into the final blow. Looking for another kill right now as he jumps out, and he buys enough time for Brands to pick up that top side tier 1. They didn't lose a single member in that dive.
If you thought Argentina completely out-macroed Slovenia yesterday, this is a bit of a repeat because Indonesia is absolutely leagues ahead from Argentina. Unfortunately, Dreams was not taken out, and due to him being so low, it baits the rest of the members of Argentina, and Indonesia were able to punish that. And while all that is happening, the fight began without Brands, and doing that, Brands just didn't stay still. Goes for objectives, goes for more farm. And we talked about the 1-1 having a good lane. Brands is having an amazing lane, and in the late game, that cannot be good for the side of Argentina.
6th minute, 4-man dive, 4v5, Arashi. That's what made it super impressive. It wasn't a 5v5, it was a 4v5, and they still got out with the better trade. They still were able to take that purple buff unpunished. They were the ones actually punishing Argentina for stepping into their own jungle.
They are treading the line so carefully. I mean, at any moment, any small misplay can lead to disaster in these very risky plays, but Indonesia is making it happen. That just shows, again, their skill and their class, and right now they are in the sides, in the wings, waiting for an opportunity. Side cuts always being so crafty in the positioning game, but look at that.
Jotun has the quad shadow, gets out, but it's going to be chunked by Hijume, who follows him under the turret with the black shoes, gets out. Real world inflation popped in, but that's going to be Tatu, who targets him down with the final blow. Forcing the flicker out, Dreams taken down in the back lines by Papa Dog as he jumps into the demonic force. Hijume falls as well. Indonesia, too over aggressive, finally punished here by Argentina, but Brands is looking for the crossbow attack. Pops in the end against Papa Dog, who gets the safety with the guiding wind. Taz still looking for his Psychops with the Black Dragon form now, still going for this fight. It's a 3v5, but Indonesia still are able to push Argentina back, but it does not change the fact that Argentina were able to find another 2 kills.
They get another 2 kills, but we talk about the wave pressure again and again. You guys at home are probably so bored of hearing about it, but the bottom side, the minions have taken 1 more turret for Indonesia. We take a look at the items here. 4 Brands, Corrosion Scythe, having the Demon Hunter Sword as well. These thicker, tankier members on the side of Argentina are going to be suffering from that percentage HP damage from the Demon Hunter Sword, and it's only going to get worse from here on. That is 2 core items for 1-1.
That's really not what Argentina won.
The reverse.
1-1 with the Demon Hunter Sword, with the Corrosion Scythe so early on, and now I do believe he is building towards the Windtalker, which is going to be, again, that countermeasure for Brands to go up against the Phobias. When you start to have more attack speed, and when you start to be able to actually dash faster than the Demonic Force, that's when Wanwan can actually somewhat counter the Phobias. Taz is all alone, and he actually baits the entire team, baits some resources as well for Psychops. Goes over the Black Dragon form, petrifying Jotun. And just like that, that's the jungler taken out. That's also Meteoro who falls in the mid lane to Brands. Papa Dog isolated, zoned away from the rest of his team as he'll be stunned up and he will be slain up in the top side.
Look at Brands.
3-0. Brands pushing in the mid lane without a care.
He is alone. He is staring 2 members of Argentina in the face. It doesn't matter. He is so ahead right now. He has that confidence, the mechanical skill. And look at that. He's behind the turret. That is, you're not supposed to do that as a marksman, but Brands doesn't care, I guess, as Indonesia wrestles away the control in the jungle from Argentina. But look at that right now. They're just sieging the base as much as possible, and the base turret passive has popped.
I can speak based on experience that on the 1-1, if you're snowballed, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So we'll see once again. Psychops wants to do whatever he wants as well with the Black Dragon form, just penetrating into that base, zoning 4 members away from the base turret. As Brands and Hijume just sieges it down. Taz now a little blade as the Numenal Blast cancelled out, but he flickers forward, getting the damage and the stun onto Meteoro, who's forced to flicker back out again. Taz now under the turret range, forced to back away. Shadow Kill popped in, won't be able to find enough damage to take anyone down. That's another resource, the real world manipulation by Meteoro to defend. 10 minutes in, Indonesia have cracked 1 base turret and are looking for the second in the mid lane. Arashi, it's looking grim. It's going to be Hijume who jumps back with Black Shoes. Demonic Force popped in by Papa Dog. And they do not want to stop.
They just have the superior siege right now. They're going for damage on the members of Argentina and also the base turrets, but they're going again.
Papa Dog looking for the play, but it is just going to give Brands enough weakness points to pop that crossbow of Tang. Erwin low, forced to recall, and Indonesia are looking for the end. 2-0. Psychops jumps in again with that signature Petrify on 3. Finds a double before they end the game. 2-0. Indonesia will meet up against Cambodia in the upper bracket finals.
What a performance, man. And multiple members from Indonesia, they have their signature heroes, and I think teams need to start taking notice. It is just so dangerous. We saw
MVP 5-0 and 4, 748 GPM, 33,000 damage dealt. And if you take a look at the numbers, it's not too impressive, right?
Yeah.
You need to take a look at what he does in the game. He's not a paper man. He's not a person that you can read.
But just tanking so much damage and getting out. He has almost no deaths on that beat Benedetta, and that just allows the rest of the
Love the touch, but never love the feeling.